thank you for this day. I'm thankful for the sunshine that you give us, Heavenly Father. Thank you for watching over us through the world that we have. We'll continue to be with the sick and shut in. Thank you for the portion of it that you give us. We ask that you be with us here tonight, Lord. Guide our thoughts and guide our words and our actions through God. We would be found suitable in thy sight, Lord, that we might be examples for betterment of this life. Continue to lead, guide, and direct us. Keep us humble. Never even the center of value. It's in the holy and righteous name of God.
I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Well, Happy New Year to everyone and welcome to the January 22nd Commission meeting. Thank you for your understanding and cancellations and rescheduling meetings from last week. At this time, we will have roll call. I would ask before we do roll call that you turn your cell phones on silent or turn them off. And what was the other thing? And please have all the commissioners move up as close to the front as you can, because you will be given the opportunity to speak first on any issues that we're going to approach tonight. Ms. Rita, would you do roll call, please?
Beverly Atwood.
Present.
Tommy Belcher.
Here.
Shane Burton.
Here.
Alan Carmen.
Here.
Grant Cochran.
Here.
Brian Crook.
Here.
Will Dennis.
Here.
Jerry Ford.
Here.
Chris Gregory.
Here.
Bubba Gregory.
Here.
Landon Gully.
Present.
Richard Johnson. Judy Kerr.
Here.
David Nallner.
Here.
Leslie Overman.
Here.
Mark Presley.
Here.
Amber Russell.
Here.
Lonnie Taylor.
Here.
David Thomas.
Here.
Steve Whitaker. 19 present, 1 absent.
Thank you. I'm assuming that everyone's had an opportunity to review the minutes from November 28th. If you've had the opportunity to review, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion by Mr. Belcher, second by Mr. Ford. Discussion?
Just one question. The minutes say November 22nd, and the front page says 28th. The 25th is the right date.
Did you check for that, please? Checking on that.
Should be the 27th.
Would be the 27th. Approval with that change made. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under announcements, our sympathies are with Commissioner Leslie Overman and her family and the passing of her father, Joe Bodie, on January 4th. At this time, we'll look to approve amendments to the agenda. We have a few changes in the agenda. We will remove BA 10109 FB and BA 10114 from consideration this month, as discussed in the finance meeting. We'll also remove ARPA budgets. We'll need an ordinance next month. We're adding BA 10115 FB Fire Department air compressor, which was discussed in budget and finance. Do I have a motion to set the agenda?
Motion set the agenda.
Motion by Mr. Gully. Second by Atwood. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carried. Under citizens' response to the agenda items, if any of our visitors would like to speak to the commission about a matter on this month's agenda, please sign up at the podium. I know a number have already signed up, but at this time, I would ask you to come up and sign in, and we'll call on you at the proper time. Any other persons want to sign in? If not, I'll give a short county mayor's report. As most of you know, the building at the end of the bridge on Broadway has met its demise this past week or two. TDOT had first told us that would be a 2-year project, but fortunately they got it done within a year. They reinforced the bridge, and TDOT informed me they will be back in the spring to put permanent pylons under the bridge to secure it. So that's moving along. I noticed today they were digging deep to reach solid ground, and the county may be responsible for doing some fill in, but that's something that needs to be done, and we're glad. The multimodal grant, which is going to extend sidewalks from Main Street on the right-hand side of Broadway as you're going toward McMurray, is still in the works as far as getting the proper certifications for TDOT to begin on that project, but they've also told us that could be a 2 to 3 year project. Work on the bridge at 141 is underway as Jones Brothers has purchased land as kind of a staging operation. They've started surveying and doing core drilling, and so that's a 3 year project that should be on track to finish in 2027. We did make the deadline for getting the grant in, which is a $2 million grant for Ward School. It's a 10% matching grant. Supposedly we'll hear from that this month. It will be an opportunity to bring back Ward School, and with the possibility of creating a community center up there and connecting that part of the street to downtown. We're also have been informed that EPA is ready to do their initial phase 1 assessment of the 8 acres which join Ward School, which we connected to downtown. Our plan is to create a nature trail on that property which connect Ward School to downtown. So those are some things we're really excited about. Other than that, that's all I have this evening. Other things will be addressed later in our discourse this evening. At this time, I'll ask for committee reports. Audit, Beverly Atwood, would you let us know?
Audit met December the 4th. Our main reason for meeting was for the election of officers. I myself was elected as chair. Will Dennis was vice chair. Mr. Ford was secretary. Some other discussion that we had was telecommuting work from home that appears to be just like an isolated incident, and that was pretty much the gist of our meeting. I am going to be looking for a meeting in March to discuss some of our audit findings that I got in our report this past week from comptrollers.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Hanson. Codes and zoning, David Thomas.
We met on January 4th. I was unable to attend because of health issues. Lonnie Taylor was the acting chairman for that meeting. We ended up discussing the progress being made by Rick Gregory, and was brought to our attention a need for a permitting for blasting. Apparently Jones Brothers reached out to Ms. Mahan and was asking what the process was for local permitting. When she looked into it, we have none, not even a form to gather information for a point of contact if something were to happen or someone were to need to be notified. So we are looking at that. We will have another meeting on January 25th of this month to continue that discussion as asked by that committee.
That concludes your report.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Item C under buildings, Lonnie Taylor.
We met on January 8th at 7 o'clock for the purpose of basically going over ongoing situations with the courthouse. Cliff Saley did say that he met with the electrical engineer. They did the final walkthrough. They were doing the final walkthrough before they pulled the final inspection permit. I'm not exactly sure where we are on that. I have spoken with Cliff today regarding another matter. He and I are going to start basically, and we're going to set another meeting. As far as the flooring, the painting, and other items that we're not sure if offers been paid yet. That's another situation we're looking to get the answer on as soon as possible. And then as far as the administrative building, the generator, we are not, as chairman and as a committee, we're not prepared to come forward to the commission with anything on that yet. We've got some more facts that it's come to surface. We need to have people to bring it to the full committee. I don't want to spread, misinformation. So when we do have all the facts regarding the generator, that over the administration, when we bring the whole we will be setting another meeting in the next few days to, get that, these kind of information.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Finance Committee, Mr. Gully.
Finance Committee, of course, was, canceled for weather last week. Met at 6 o'clock tonight. All the items that you've, received, under tonight's budget amendment speeches were discussed in that, part, minus the two that were redacted from tonight's minutes or from tonight's agenda. Every piece did, have a favorable recommendation in tonight's meeting. There were, only a few, pieces that were, the overtime adjustments, the 101.13 that were discussed, at length. But yet that with a full-on favorable recommendation. No votes against. Any other questions? I can go over it in more detail if you want to.
I
But,
think
it's
we're
pretty
good.
clear.
Any questions from the commission? Thank you, Mr. Gully. Any other committee reports at this time?
I would like to say we got a public works meeting, on Wednesday night, January the 24th at 6 here at the
What's that date again, please?
Wednesday, January 24th, 6 p.m. here at the HTC.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to new and active business for this month, we have appointments. I'll read through these real quickly. To the Beer Board, Rhonda Kiesling resigned at the end of her term. I'm appointing Amanda Carmen to fill that vacancy. This is a 4-year term beginning February 1. On the Library Board, Scott Morrell has moved to Florida. The board is asking to appoint Kathy Robertson to his replacement. Ms. Robertson will be assuming the seat on February 1 as well. Under Medical Examiner, Dr. Ray Pinkston resigned effective January 31st. Chief Beatty and I have discussed filling this position, and upon his recommendation, I'm recommending Dr. Christopher Tripp for a 5-year term. Do I have a motion to approve these appointments?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Chris Greaves, second by Amber Russell. Discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under resolutions, Resolution 2024-01-798 in support of a license plate reader program. Sheriff and Chief Cochran have been working on the implementation of this program for the past year. This resolution is to support their efforts with the program and provisions for data privacy, record retention, and audit. Would the sheriff like to speak to this?
Yeah, this is what we call LPR. We've been trying to get this set up for our county for several years now. Sumner County and other counties also have this also. What it does, it reads the license plate when you go by. It's helped us tremendously in Trouser County as far as vehicles passing through our county. It reads the license plates. There was one man who drove through our county from McMinn County, Silver Lake. Somebody may have dementia. He came through Sumner County, hit his tag. We was able to find him at 231. He called his family to come get him. It's only used for law purposes, stolen vehicles, stolen tags, wanted people. We've got several hits from Sumner County where they've got them up already, that they'll come into our county. When they hit that tag, we get an alert. We set it up somewhere in the county where we think they're going to go through that. And we're trying to get them for Trouser County. We've got them in the budget. There's been some legislation that's just been passed to approve us to be able to get these. So that's kind of what we're doing now. And the company we're getting it from, they're kind of behind. And, hopefully we'll get them up sometime this year.
What kind of fee do we pay this year? Is that a fee we have to pay this?
Yeah, we've already got it in the budget.
Is it
Yes, I think it's $2,500 a camera. And,
a year or a month?
Yeah.
Year.
And, we're gonna try to put about 4 of them up right now. I think we got the budget. Hopefully do more later.
I mean, everything's out there good. I didn't know what.
Oh, yeah, they really helped out. Like Sumner County guy, he's really good presentations on the thing. We had a trailer stone a few weeks ago. And he had over in Lebanon and was able to get the stolen vehicle and everything off the trailer.
Any other questions of Sheriff Russell?
Are you thinking about possibility that at certain intersections or on patrol vehicles?
No, they'll be stationary on the highway. If you're going into Galvin, you see this little black post sticking up, side roads, you get the railroad tracks, that's one of them. They're off, so they'll be perfect for it. And we only use it for law purposes only. Does they get both ways or just one? Both ways. They'll take a picture of the vehicle, so we got a picture of the vehicle and you pull the tag up, and in some cases, you don't see the tag.
Any other questions of Sheriff Russell?
We approve it.
Thanks, Sheriff Russell. I have a motion to approve. Do I hear a second? Grant Conference, second. Commissioner Bubba Gregory on motion. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Like sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Under Resolution 2024-02-799, support of the 2024 home grant application. Another home grant program is open for application. This program assists low-income families with rehabilitation or new construction of their homes. This is a fully funded grant with no match from the county. This is a support resolution to apply and execute if awarded. Motion? Motion by Mr. Ford, second by Mark Presley. Thank you, Mark. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Under Resolution 2024-03-800, support of purchasing property for jail complex. I'd like to move forward with the purchase of the Holder property that has been discussed in the past. The resolution to give the mayor and the sheriff the authority to enter into agreements on such property was passed unanimously by the court. Oh, what date was that exactly?
August 28th.
August 28th. Okay. We have spoken with Kevin Kreminski of Tennessee Mutual Bond Fund on financing options. This resolution is in support of the initial purchase of the property. Mr. Gully, would you like to speak to the subject of Mr. Kreminski for the court?
There was a discussion there with Mr. Kevin, we'll go with myself.
Krasinski.
I butcher his last name every time, but in that discussion, he's really just laid out what some options are for the county. We've discussed this in the past. You've heard from myself, heard from Mr. Dennis, as we're looking at a $25 million jail project. We set in discussions December a year ago, not this past December, but over a year ago in December, and met with CTAS individual there. His name is left my mind for a second.
Wes Robertson.
Wesley Robertson. There we go. He kind of laid out some of the same pieces that Kevin laid out for us here in this case. We're looking at a project that's going to cost us somewhere in the neighborhood of an estimated $25 million is what we've heard at this point. We know we've had that discussion. At this time, the thought process is purchase of a property and then move into the next option. There are some options at 30-year options to pay back on. There's on a roughly close to 5% is what we're going to be talking about. A little under 5% is kind of what Kevin thinks right now. Nothing is finalized because nothing has been purchased. But the initial thoughts are at that point right now. I don't think there's much more to discuss in the fact that we know what number that we're looking at. We know there's a cost here to budget out. And we know, as we said in budget and finance, we'll have to be finding where that money is going to, those dollars are going to be generated. There's really what we're looking at. Kevin has some, he's the same individual, if you remember Kevin, that worked with us. He was actually able to take a phone call in the middle of a meeting that we had to move to the water department house, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock budget finance meeting. He was able to take a phone call. He's very accessible to us. So if we have questions for him, he's willing to answer our questions. Seems to be really good to work with and very knowledgeable of this subject. I'm glad to have Commissioner Dennis on board in this commission because, and when I say on board, I'm saying his knowledge and banking and that system will be very valuable to the county.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve? Yes, sir.
Vote to deny.
I'm sorry.
Motion to deny. Sorry, motion on the floor.
So,
Got a motion to deny.
okay, I have a motion to deny.
We need a second.
Here a second.
Second.
Discussion. Yes, sir. Would you approach the podium so everyone can hear you?
Sure. When talk started on the jail, and of course, this is back during the previous administration where Mayor Chambers was in. Mayor Chambers, the sheriff, and Dwight Jewell, who was sheriff of the commission at that time, looked at other properties. We don't know what other properties they looked at. Can Sheriff Russell or Mr. Chambers here, can one of them speak to what other properties were looked at, and then why were these other sites rejected? We've not been informed of any of this.
Okay, after the commissioners have addressed this, and we can have others come up and approach the podium. Any other discussion? We have them up. Yes, sir.
Like speak.
Come around.
Good evening, everybody. There were three properties looked at. That information was withheld from us, but there were three other properties that were looked at out in the county. There was a motion that was brought forward to give him permission to research this. I think they can look up and see who made the motion in order for that to go through. That situation has twofold to the benefit of this county for that. We all know that if you go out into the county and you go to unimproved land and you're going to put something of this magnitude on it, you've got to bring infrastructure, sewer mains, water mains, gas, electric. That's expensive. And you got to bring that property on grade. That's another tremendous expense that we're going to have to shoulder there. Probably 30% of the overall budget is to get that land on grade and to bring all the infrastructure in. That's money that, as one of the smallest tax, if not the smallest tax base in the state, that's money we can't afford to spend. We are going to possibly price ourselves into a property tax situation that is going to price a lot of us out of it. That's just a fact. Before the jail's ever paid for, we're going to have to take a good, long, hard look at education. With the amount of growth that we're having, we are going to have to probably either add on to or build a school. It's not if, it's when. It's coming. So where are we going to go if we tap those resources that we have, which are very few, and tax it completely to pay for a jail? That's going to be a whole lot of money. With this property over here, people have approached me at the gas pump. They've approached me at the dollar store. They've approached me everywhere, voicing their opinion about this. I've had phone calls. I've had emails. It's been, as a lot of us, it's unreal. But I can tell you what we know. We know this is not we have to do this. This can's been kicked down the road for so long that somebody's going to have to pick it up. We have to. Picking it up is going to be expensive. But I will say this, that this piece of property over here that was not an option at the time that Mayor Chambers was here. I think if he would have looked at this from an option, he would have had a different point of view on this too. People say, this jail is right across the street from a park. We don't want this. The jail you've had for 60 years or so is across the street from the park. Originally, what I had heard them talking about, I don't know, in the previous commission, previous term, they were talking about possibly putting the entrance over here off that, you know, where we would put it. Oh, actually, it wasn't. Then it was, you were talking, strike that. It was when this originally was brought up, they were talking about the possibility of just putting the entrance over here by the driveway. Okay, and using berms and using landscaping, you'll just see part of a building. These municipalities that people talk about how great it is. You go to Gallatin, their jail's a block off the square. You go to Lebanon, it's a couple blocks off the square. But Marlene is a legal street. It is a street that is maintained by the county. We have the senior center and center and the WT&K gets mailed. That is a street. It is technically across the street from it, just like the current jail. So that takes that as a complete, that whole point of having it across the street from the park, That's not really an issue. You've had that for 60 years. But with the amount of square footage that is in that building over there, and by the way, that building over there is a steel structure. It is not supported by cinder block. So it's not apt to just fall over. You have how many, 200,000 square feet or more? It doesn't leak, and the floors are not crumbled. It does have sewer mains run to it. It does have three-phase electricity run to it. It does have water run to it, and it doesn't have to be brought up on grade. You take that amount of money off of this capital expenditure that doesn't have to be spent. That saves a lot of money. It really does. Do we have to build another justice center? Maybe, but not near as big, because we're no longer going to have to face the price of transporting our prisoners to and from out in the county. Your child support people, whatever, they can be walked across the street. There's a lot of pros and cons to both sides of it. The pros on this side of it does win. I will say this, we will be able to finally, for once, retain ownership of the parking for our park. Right now, we are being granted the kindness of Stanley Holder to let us use that parking lot. Once this property is for sale, if somebody else buys this property, we don't know what we're going to end up with over there. They could put a dog food factory over there. It is industrial. Okay, that's something to think about. Nobody is, and you know, the neat thing about a little town is your words are taken out of context, but on the right side, you're misquoted. But I'm glad the reporter's running this evening, because I want this to be known. We can't afford to build a Taj Mahal out in the middle of the county. We can't afford it. We're a small county. And I'm not waving a Jack McCall flag. I'm not waving Lonnie Taylor's flag. I'm waving a flag for the taxpayer. I don't want to price us out of the community, but it's coming. It's not if this jail is going to get built, it's when. If we don't take any kind of positive action moving forward, the state will end up building it for us and handing us the price tag we can't afford. Fact of the matter, gaining access to this parking lot and all the other acreage around the park that we've got over $2 million, new dollars, invested into it between the lights and the rehab of the playgrounds. Are you willing to lose that? We have the option to completely cut ourselves off from that park, which if that land sells to somebody else. Somebody made the comment to me today. Well, we have an option to renew this. We didn't. We have an option to renew this in February, but there is nothing in the vernacular that says that they have to honor the price that we are at. I can tell you this much without inflating any information that's out there. The land and the building collectively is worth significantly more than Mr. Holder's asking price. It's been looked at. It's been inspected. Trust me, it's a gift. That's what I got to say about that. It is a gift, Mr. Holder. If we go any other direction with this, you're looking for a whole lot more in taxes. And then, like I said, and I'm going to cut this short. When we have to build a school, where are we going to go get money? You can only get so much out of this argument. We have to leave some wiggle room in there. So that's my 2 cents worth, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, sir. Any other commissioners wish to speak to this? Yes, sir. Please come up. Please come up.
I just wanted to ask the chairman a question real quick. The motion that was passed to give you the authority to search for the land.
Yes, sir.
Do we have a record of who had that motion?
We
Who
did.
made that motion?
Who made that motion?
Grant you that permission?
We did. We did.
For the record, could that be stated for the audience?
Could that be stated for the record?
Yeah, Frank Crook did.
Yeah, Mr. Crook made that motion
And that did pass?
unanimously.
Thank
Yes,
you,
sir. Yes, sir. Mr. Crook, would you like to speak to this?
Oh, I'm going to speak. It's a gift, y'all. It's a $5.5 million gift. When I made that motion, that was for them to go into agreements with multiple properties. They never said they was going to just lay down one property and we all just going to go and follow the coattails of the great leader. Okay? There's no other options, they say. We can't do anything. We have to do this specific property. I don't agree with that. I don't believe it. I just like to ask the mayor, when you was on your trip for the holidays, stayed in that nice luxury penthouse suite you was at. Did you go over this deal with the property owners when you was there? You know, down there on the beach in Florida, wherever you were? I'll tell you what it's got to do with it. This amount of money that they're trying to push down our throats, it's going to funnel its way into somebody else's pocket. It's up to y'all. I'm here to represent the people. The people has reached out to me and said, vote no on this particular resolution. That's why the motion was made to deny. If there would have been any more properties listed on here, we could have went through them, see what was the best fit for the county, but we have one piece of property to go with. Why? Because it's a gift and it's a parking issue, a $5.5 million parking issue. Don't think that any of this is scripted that you're going to hear today. Because for me, it's coming from the heart. What you got here is a dictatorship that's been trying to run this county down to the ground. He's also been trying to bring up other directors of departments and bring them in this with him. This is sad that Trouton County has come to this shape. You vote how you want as a commissioner. But as for me, I ain't voting for this shit.
There will be no more outbursts, or you will be asked to leave, and the sheriff will take care of that. We can be civilly in this meeting. We can respect each other and not resort to personal attacks. Yes, sir.
So I just heard ethical accusations laid down directly at the mayor of Trousdale County with no proof or evidence to back anything that he said up.
Did you hear about what I said?
I most certainly heard your accusations.
I said, could it? Did it?
So that being said, I'm also hearing from the commissioner that, you know, what this is being told is the only property and we have to do this. I believe as it was mentioned before, the timeline of this search has been going on for multiple years. Multiple properties have been looked at. This one's been the best choice, and I've yet to hear anyone bring up any better suggestions. The cost has been shown by the engineers who did the survey to be drastically cheaper than going to any other undeveloped property. But I really have a problem with any commissioner making accusations or insinuating accusations about any other elected official in this county without any evidence or proof to back up what he's saying. I think that really needs to be addressed as a body of, are we going to allow that type of conduct to be continued?
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Yes.
I didn't intend to stand up and talk about this. My vote, my opinion is all I need to say. But bringing this back to the matter at hand, which is the resolution, there's a lot of logistics that need to be looked at on spending $5.5 million for a 60-something-year-old warehouse. Not only that, but I work in Lebanon. Wilson County Sheriff's Department just finished their jail. I'm not disputing anything about the current situation of our jail. Maybe it does need to be a new jail built. Maybe it does need to be updated and renovated. But regardless, if there is a new jail built, you have to staff it. Wilson County just built 200 or 300 bed addition to what they currently have, and they don't even have it open because they don't have the manpower to staff it. So regardless of what happens, wherever this jail is built or if it is built, there's a lot of other logistics that need to be looked at other than name calling and accusations saying. There's logistics and there's a lot of other stuff that needs to happen. Regardless, like I said, $5.5 million for a 60-something-year-old warehouse that is appraised to the county website for $1 million to me is something to look at. But like I said, whether there is a jail built or updated the current bill, there's logistics that have to happen. And that needs to be more of a concern, in my opinion, than where the mayor's skin is. decides to spend his free time on that, so.
Thanks, sir. Mr. Gregory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Thomas spoke on the engineering reports, that recommendation. We as a commission have not seen those engineering reports. I haven't seen it. And I want to know how many commissioners have seen these reports. We're being asked to vote on this. We don't have all the information. We don't know if any of these other sites are potentially good or not. We don't have the information. And 5.5 being a good deal on that. Off the Tennessee Property Assessment website, public available, anybody can look it up. A couple of people have posted this information on social media. That building was appraised in 2022. Total market appraisal, $1,064,600. You gonna tell me that 5 times the assessed value of a building is a good deal? Don't think so. And Mr. Taylor is correct that getting the parking would be of great benefit to the county. If we're doing this just to get parking, make an offer on the parking lot itself. If we can't get the parking lot through a surprise sales, go to court and eminent domain it if we need it. If we need it that bad, if we need the parking lot that badly, we don't need to make a decision like this without all the information, and we don't have it. We've not been provided it.
Any other commissioners wish to speak to this?
Can you give us a report from the architecture, or do you got any reports from that, or?
I can after everyone said their piece.
Okay.
I'll address it. Any other commissioners wish to speak? Yes, sir. Please approach the podium.
I don't intend to throw no slurs at nobody in here. I've been in this county a long time. And I know the needs of it. We don't have a choice in the jail. State's gonna make us go to jail, just like they did the school over here. We caught a lot of slack for that. I was on the Board of Education, and we got one letter, and they said, when we get the next letter, we're gonna come do something forward. I don't know what to do in a position like this in the jail. I know it's gonna have to be something done. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be painful. I don't know if $5.5 million, it sounds awful high to me. I've been a businessman all my life. I wouldn't even consider looking at $5.5 million. I'd want to get some people that come in that were smart enough to know what to do to give me an appraisal on it before I even touch it. I know that I've had several phone calls from the public begging me to vote against it. I've been on the court. I'm in my 30th year. Everything I've ever seen that we've done went through all the committees. Did this go through a committee? No. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, you went over to see about buying this piece of property over here across from the jail. I was right behind that, but you went over there and talked to the holders and purchased that. We haven't had a choice. And I just believe if in this county they can place somewhere to put this jail without forking out $5.5 million before we even touch the ground. It's awful high. Yeah, it's got some good properties. I agree with Lonnie. There's some good things over there. But it looks to me like 5 times what it's assessed. It's got to tell you something, folks. There's something wrong here. We don't have the information that we need to make a decision on this tonight. We don't have it. I'd like to ask, who negotiated $5.5 million? Did it come through any of your committees? Did any of you committees know anything about it? Did any of y'all have anything to do with this? We don't do that kind of business in Falcon County. I've been on court 30 years. And many of you, sir, anything comes up, it goes through committees, and it comes back. I'm not saying it's good or it's bad. I'm just saying it looks awful, awful steep. We might build a jail, it's gonna hurt. Gonna hurt. But you think about the pennies that we're gonna spend. Each penny brings in $34,285 of taxpayers' monies, which is 38% of the people in this county. Right now, we don't have a wheel tax to help pay for it. You're gonna put all that on 38% of the people? I tried to get them long before this last court. I tried to get to many of you know it, you were sitting there. I tried to get them 4 different times to enact the wheel tax again to help the property owner. If we build a $25 million building, we're looking at $2 million a year. $2 million. You know how many pennies it's going to take to get $1 million? Divide $34,285 into it, and you'll know how much your tax rate's going to go up. I just don't think we're ready to make this decision tonight. There's too many loopholes that ain't been answered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other commissioners wish to speak to this issue tonight? If not, we'll call you up one at a time from the public. Please limit your speaking time to 5 minutes, so we can, in the interest of time. Mr. Miller, if you'll call them up.
It looks like the first on the list is a Mr. Keith Pry.
And there. Or, I can't tell you exactly, but before Halloween last year, me and my little business owners, 3 on the tree, we came and talked to the mayor. Sat down and had talked with him for a few minutes in regards to another property that might be offered to the county. This property is in the city limits. This property is fenced. This property is over 5 acres. Over 50,000 square foot of the building. Metal structure with block and brick on the outside. Paved parking and fenced. Oh, by the way, it's already got sewer, already has water, and the 3-phase lines run right backside of it. Happens to be the Texas Boot Factory. We did talk to them and say, you know, hey, look, we might consider selling. We had so many people talking to us, asking us about that property. In regards to this, because they're all upset about the jail going by the park. Had people talk to us that they're upset with the fact that there might be wolf calling going on and the guys are out there on their outside time. The women and children that are walking on the perimeters, on the tracks and stuff. That it makes everybody feel uneasy. Okay? We want to make everybody feel uneasy. Talk about the cost of the infrastructure. The infrastructure is already there. Okay, you're not going outside in the county to try to find something. Now, if you're looking for a 200,000 square foot building, by all means, you need this one over here. How big is the jail right now? Can anybody tell how many square feet's in the jail? Do we know? Okay. I know it's a whole lot less. You know, I know it's a whole lot less. How much do we need?
Don't know. But anyhow, to say that there's no other options, there was nothing else offered, that's a fact. Because it's been on. And I've used my time up, so I'll say thank you for your time. Thank you, sir.
Mr. and Mrs. Matt or Lisa Steva.
I don't have a lot to add. A lot of what I was thinking has been said. It struck me that the fact that the jail has been here for 60 years is a reason to keep it in this area. I don't think makes any sense. It probably wasn't a good decision 60 years ago. I don't think it is now. I would rather not have some of the nicest, we're really working on our downtown area, the park, making this a good place for people to come, and putting a jail in the middle of it doesn't have any appeal to me. I think other sites should be looked at, and we should be very open about what the possibilities are and look into different things. I don't think we should rush on this. It's a big decision, and it changes the nature of our downtown, which I'm hoping will be beautiful and inviting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Brad Anderson.
Thank you for allowing me to speak, number one. First and foremost, this is a crooked deal from the start. Plain and simple. How do you take a property that is appraised by the state at $1 million, a little over $1 million, and offer $5.5 million for it? How does that make sense? I know inflation has hit, but it hadn't hit in the tune of $4 million in 2 years. At all. Our county officers spend a lot of time going out to the prison, put it out by the prison. They don't have that far to go then. There's sewer out there, there's electric out there. Makes perfect sense to me. Mr. Thomas, you wanted to know why Mr. Crook brought that up earlier. It's called his First Amendment right. You need to look at that. He has the right to say whatever he wants. Okay? So that's settled. This is wrong, people. Who wants to go over here and walk in this park with their kids and have some pervert that's locked up for rape or child incest or something like that and have them hollering at your kid or at your wife? That's absurd. What's really absurd is the fact that somebody asked how many square foot are in this, and our own sheriff couldn't even answer the question.
There's about 5,000. That's a whole lot more than this jail. We got City Hall.
I'm talking about the current.
It's about 5,000 square foot.
Why didn't you answer the man when he asked you that?
Because I ain't getting any else crap when I'm doing.
He asked you a pointed question, sir. I mean, I'm just stating the facts.
Well, this is not a place for argument. So
Yeah, I'm not arguing with anybody.
Yeah, right to speak.
Your question. Did you hear me?
I'm stating the facts, sir. I'm sorry if the facts don't sit well with some, but that's the facts. Everybody here witnessed it.
Well, that's fine. I know how many square foot's down there, but I'm letting y'all talk it out. I'm not getting involved in this right now.
Or you were asked a very direct question by a concerned citizen. Was that wrong?
Well, I gave you an answer.
Yeah, fine.
But they ain't the whole complete answer. We're working out of 4 different buildings right now.
Okay.
Y'all didn't ask for this building.
How long have we known that we needed a jail? How many years? How many years has it been
I've
put
been
on?
talking about it for 10 years.
And how many? And why has it been put on the back burner for 10 years?
I know that.
I didn't say it was your fault. It's the people that have sat on the commission and the people that have sat in the mayor's seat 10 years that they've known that they have outgrown this facility. And now all of a sudden we want to just jump on this one property. It stinks. This deal stinks. A high heaven. paying that. And I'm gonna tell you, I've been here 7 years. Yes, I'm not from Travisville County, but I've been in small towns like this, and I've seen the good old boy system continue to flow until people get tired of it and they stand up and get these people out. That's how it happens. Plain and simple. If you want to continue to get the same thing, keep sitting by idly and let them just have their way. But when the people have had enough and the people start pushing back, that's when true change happens in this community. Plain and simple. Thank you for the time.
Thank you. Mr. Stephen Chambers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for letting me speak to you tonight. I hope I don't get into any arguments with the sheriff. He's a little bit bigger than I am. Yes, I was the previous mayor, and we did have a process in place to look at a jail. It's called the County Corrections Partnership Initiative. We were working with Tennessee Corrections Institute on this program. We were actually going to be the first program to use it. They were going to create the standard based on Travisville County. When I left the office, they talked about how far ahead we were, and they were very proud of what we were doing. Mentioned the 3 sites. Yes, there were 3 sites looked at as part of a preliminary assessment that was requested by the sheriff and other officials to look at. Why was that not disclosed? Because it was a preliminary assessment and it was supposed to be discussed and went further through the county correctional partnership process. The previous commission voted to establish a committee that consisted of your general sessions judge, your criminal court judge, your district attorney, your public defender, a member of the planning commission, member of the county commission, that's Commissioner Burton, and it had some other people came there, and myself, the sheriff, we were there just kind of ex officio. We did go through that process. What that process was to do is they would come in and do trainings with your county commissioners and other officials to go over staffing needs, security needs. How do you assess prisoners? How do you determine who's a high risk? How do you determine who's going to be medium security? To go over the modern standards, how they're built, why they're built the way they are, the standards that the state uses. And they're supposed to go through the process, have you get it informed on all that, look at the sites that were out there, and then the county commission would make the decision on where you're going to go. Okay, so that brings you to, that had to go into place after the county commission voted who we're going to hire as an architectural firm. That was August 28, 2022. On May 1st, 2023, at the executive committee, the minutes state that there was under the mayor's section, it says, in the process, closing in on securing property for the jail, looking at the possibility of letter of intent to move into agreement with county commission approval. 8 months to go from we're just now starting this process till we have a site we're going to go into. I looked on the county's website the last couple of days. I looked at planning commission, law enforcement committee. There is no jail committee. County corrections partnership committee did not go forward. So I'm a little bit concerned of the process that was used to pick this location. I do have several concerns about it, and it is in the park. I don't like that. It is right next door to the Senior Citizen Center. I don't like that. I especially don't like that there's just mere feet in between the building and a fence, 40 feet over to a residential property. And I have some concerns about that. And I'll state something here. I represented the client that was in the Travisville County Jail. He escaped over that back fence, went across that creek right there, and got picked up by a Mexican drug cartel and taken out of the county. I am concerned about the location of this and what that is to the neighbors. A lot of these facilities are built right now. You have a lot of open space around the facility itself. And the reason that is, if you look at it, the fence goes all the way around where somebody might get out of that cell and try to run across. That way they've got open land to see them trying to run and get out of there. So I'm concerned about the location of this. And the last thing I'll talk about is the valuation. Talked about $5.5 million, and that's a good valuation, and I'll reference what somebody else did. The property assessment was done in 2022, came up with total market value of $1,064,600. That is the entire property. It's the building, parking lots, and everything. Building number 2, which is the one that burnt down, was rebuilt in 2013. It says the quality of that building is below average. So I have some concerns about that. So my main concern right now is I don't agree with the process. It doesn't look like it's being used. If you went through a process and you evaluated all the sites and you picked the best one, that's the way it is. But at this point, I don't see that that was done, and I've never saw the county commission pick that property. Thank you.
Ms. Crystal Chambers.
Thank you for having me. Before I begin, Ms. Mary Helen McGowan asked me to read a statement from her because she couldn't be here today, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that, okay? All right. She says that she feels that we do not need to recommend paying $5.5 million for a property appraised for 5 times less, especially when there have been other properties available. Plus, we need a plan and not to go half-cocked trying to rush things. While my 8 years on the Trousdale County School Board from 2012 to 2020, we always had to have plans, estimates, etc. before we could present to the county commission. I understand our needs. I understand our county needs a new jail, but we need to step back, take a breath, have certified plans and estimates before moving forward. Let the people of Trousdale County vote in these things. These commissioners and our mayor need to realize who put them in office to begin with, and those same people can take them out. That's my statement and my beliefs. No hard feelings towards anyone, but we need to slow down and be open to less expensive, better options. That's her statement. As far as, my statement, there's been a lot expressed about this building. A lot of people are talking about the infrastructure and things like that. Absolutely, we need to have the infrastructure. But the infrastructure for that building over there is over 60 years old. Do you think that's going to accommodate this big new facility that we need? No, you're going to have to update that too. Okay? So you're going to have to update it there, or you're going to have to build it from scratch somewhere. Everybody knows this is going to cost a lot of money. Okay, no matter what we do, it's going to cost a lot of money. Okay? But there are other options than putting this right in the center of where we do everything in Trousdale County. The kids don't have anywhere else to go. The senior citizen center's right there. How are we going to put a jail right there with all those people where we have every single event in town? Okay, we got the music on the square that's right there. They've started up the farmers markets every weekend or whatever. I hear that's a big success. You think people are going to want to come in and bring their goods and stuff from out of town with a jail sitting right there? No. I've seen people online saying that, they're not going to want to bring their kids to the park anymore. We just got a great grant to build a nice park, and people aren't going to want to come to it. So right now, this county has an opportunity, okay? They were talking about, the jail already being across the street, and to your credit, ma'am, that was never ideal, okay? But it's been here forever, so we put up with it. You have an opportunity to move it. You have an opportunity to change that. And that's something that you all need to consider. If you care about the people of this county, and you care about what's going on here, you're not going to vote for this.
Trust I'm pronouncing this correctly. Miss Carla Atkins.
Hello. I've been involved in some of the conversations throughout the years about different things because I've been active in the community. I've lived here since 2005, and I was very active when I was in the town itself. And I now live in the Cato area, so close to me. Anyway, I can't say I'm for or against. I'm kind of against it right now because I don't know enough about it. I've just heard somebody say that they're talking about an entrance through the old dry cleaners. we don't have even a plan in front of us to say, hey, this is what it would look like on this piece of property. Where would be the green space for the inmates? Where would be the tower, if they're gonna have a tower to monitor the inmates? There's a lot of things that need to be answered before we can say that this would be good. Like, are they gonna be able to whistle at the ladies and the children over at the park from the green space, you know, and compromise everybody's good feelings of being having a park, you know, or the senior centers. There's our senior centers that go up there, and there's activities there all day long, at least 5 days a week. They need to feel secure that they're safe there, because I don't know if you remember, but I think it was in Sumner County, there was a Westmoreland inmate that got loose, and he compromised a lot of security for the people in the community. And it was a big deal. We've had that here too. I used to live up here on East Main. I remember when there was an inmate that got loose and they were going across my property. They were found at the trailers the next day and everything. And I know that Ray's team and everything is good at getting people. I mean, I give you credit. I mean, and everything. They don't.
You're talking about Sumner County van.
Yes, it was.
They were a Sumner County prisoner in Sumner County van. They stopped at the front of the intersection up here. They jumped out the back door.
Right. They went.
They caught him in the park. Yeah.
But there's just too much potential for things to happen that could affect people's feeling of safety and everything at the park, at the pool, at the senior center. And the people that back up on River Street that live in those houses, that's gonna be really close to it. I wouldn't want my backyard backing up to the jail. I just wouldn't. You know, what you can do, have 10-foot fences and then wire. And I used to work at the prison. I started the prison. I'm a nurse. I worked in the clinic for 4 years. You know, I'm an advocate of the prison being there. I think they do a good job at keeping the inmates controlled. I mean, as much as you can, but and then someone said something, well, it's industrial, you could be a dog food factory. Well, that's an intended use. There's a tobacco warehouse. So if there's a dog food factory, that would be intended. The layout is a big issue for me. And everybody keeps saying we have to do a jail, we have to do a jail. We don't have to do a jail. We can contract for our inmates to go somewhere else. The state says we can. It might cost a lot, but we can. So I just don't think it's the right time.
Thank you. Mr. Robbie Atwood.
Well, I don't want to stand up here and fight and argue about anything. I'm just like the rest of y'all. I'm a taxpayer. It's hard to swallow what we're gonna have to do. I can't argue and say that we don't have to build a jail. I mean, from what I've been told from Ray Russell and
State of Tennessee is what y'all.
that's right, exactly right.
Not me.
It's not you. You are correct. I mean, the state has said we have to build a jail. Okay? I can't dispute that. Okay? Do I want to build one? No. And one of the biggest reasons is a jail affects 1% of the people in this county. But it don't matter. The state says we got to do it. You see what I'm saying? I mean, we are going to have to bite the bullet one way or another. And it's a hard pill to swallow. Now, are there other options? I have no idea. Okay? I have not been in any of those conversations. I am come to listen to what everybody's saying. Okay? Am I up here trying to sell you my land? No. Okay? But what I'm trying to get to you is this is a pill that we have to swallow one way or another. Okay? I've heard every discussion and I agree with 90% of it. We don't want it across from the park. Unfortunately, it's been there for 60 years across from the park. We're going to move it less than 500 feet. I mean, it's hard to get to. Yes, it was brought up by Mr. Taylor. You know, if this, I promise you, at some point in time, this land is going to sell. Whether Mr. Stanley sells it or the boys sell it, at some point in time, it's going to sell. Okay? And when it does, if somebody says, I want to build, you know, I don't know, anything, apartments or little storage sheds over there in the parking lot, we're done. Our park's gone. How much is it going to cost us to move our park versus what we got? I've heard everybody stand up here and holler, and I know it's been broadcasted everywhere. Here's the tax records. Here's the tax records. I understand that. But there's not a piece of property. Nobody in here that owns property is going to sell their property for what the tax record says. It's worth more. Okay? So, all I'm asking everybody here is to go down a road to understand something, okay? Can anybody in here tell me a comparable piece of property in Trousdale County that has sold lately to that warehouse? A commercial lot with a building standing on it. Can anybody in here tell me? Mr. Crook, can you tell me?
No, sir.
In 2022, September of 2022, the old Fred's building sold. Okay? It sold to AmeriColor, which is a company that moved in here from nowhere. Not the Old Boy Network. They moved in here out of nowhere. The gentleman that owned the building, don't hold me to it. At that point in time, I think that building was appraised for $350,000. Don't hold me to it. What'd you say?
140,000.
It was appraised at $140,000.
1997 was when it was first purchased.
He sold it for $800,000. That's entrepreneurship. I mean, that's what we're looking for. People growing. He sold it for $800,000. So now let's break that down into something that we can look at. Okay? The Fred's building is 46,000 square feet. Okay? It's on 1 acre of land. It has 12,000 square feet of asphalt. Okay? It sits in the middle of town. Now we're talking about a building over here that I think the number's been unjustly done, because if you will sit down and look at the tax records that everybody's throwing out there, that building over there is 300-something thousand square feet. Okay? It has 21,000 square feet of asphalt. It sits on 12.5 acres. If we break it down, we can buy it 2 ways. And we're going to use what sold last year as a statement. Okay? We can break it down that if we want to buy it by square footage, it's $17.21 per square foot. That makes that building almost $6.2 million. Or we can buy it per acre, which makes it almost $10 million. I don't think the price is the problem.
Amen.
And I don't think there's an Old Boy Network trying to do it. The problem is Trouser County is growing, guys. And prices are going through the roof everywhere. Okay? Do I want to spend 5.5 million on a building and have to spend more money? No, because I'm a taxpayer just like y'all. But it's something we gotta do. And I don't disagree with anybody that has walked up here and spoke their piece tonight. And that's what's so good about the country we live in. But we are unfortunately dealing with 3 of the oldest buildings in the county right now. One being the courthouse, second being the jail, next being the field house. The field house is being done away with. It's being taken care of right now. But we still have the jail. And we gotta do something with it. And it is what it is. And I'm not saying that, I mean, I'm just like y'all. Mr. Ford said it best. 38% of us pay the bill around here. I don't like it. But it is what it is, guys. You know? We're going to have to swallow this pill one way or another. And I don't think fighting and arguing about it is the way to go. We can all agree to disagree. You know? So.
Thank you, Mr. Atwood.
Yes, sir.
And lastly, Ms. Faye Atwood. You gonna pass? All right. Mr. Taylor, Pro Tem, would you take the chair for a minute while I address the audience? Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not up here to get your applause. That's not my purpose. I ran for mayor for one reason only. I had no political agenda. My purpose is to serve this county to the best of my ability, which meant 2 things. Number 1 is to provide the services that this county needs, but keep the taxpayer in mind. Someone has suggested that I haven't brought any other options before this court. That is not true. We will begin with the first option, which about 2 years ago, maybe a little over, I spent a year observing the county court before I was elected mayor. The Tennessee Corrections Institute, along with our sheriff and some committee members, did a study on 3 different parcels of property out in the county. All of that information was not readily available to the court during that time. Numbers were not used, but numbers were leaked out, and these are the numbers that were generally spoken. A 150-bed jail, $25 million 3 years ago. Macon County applied for a loan with USDA 2 years ago. The loan was approved 2 years later, $24 million. When they repriced their jail, $38 million. A period of time for 2 years meant that the cost of jail went up that much. $25 million, 150 feet. Today, that jail would cost from $35 to $40 million. This county can afford that. So I decided as mayor to kind of back into the situation and say, okay, what can we afford? Can we afford 25 million, 20 million? Can we do with less than 150 beds? Why build 150 beds when you're approved for 46? And in the last meeting I had with Sheriff Russell, he agreed that he could live with 100 to 110 beds. That would cut your cost dramatically. Why would you move away from a criminal justice building that you have now that we still owe $1.3 million of? If you go out in the county, you're going to walk away from it? That's a question that has weighed heavily on my mind. Second option that was brought before the court, and we've talked about this, their property across the road from the jail, 1.17 acres, priced $300,000. The lot next to it was originally priced at $300,000 and priced to lower to 260. Do you want to spend $560,000 on what I call a postage stamp? The architect said, yes, I could put a jail there. I can put it on that property right across from the jail, but you'll have no room to expand. You'll be landlocked, not a viable option. It's interesting how the Mr. Holder discussion came up, and I have discussed this with the court. I was visiting with Mr. Holder one day on an unrelated matter, and he said to me, I hear you're going to come after part of my land. I hear you're going to use the lot across from the jail. I hear the county is going to come and take part of my land. I said, no, we're not in the land taking business at the present time. And he simply said, well, I'd sell you my warehouse. That's how this discussion came to be. I thought he was kidding. I blew it off. Talked to someone who knew him well, said, no, he's not openly advertising the land to sell. He's not trying to sell it, but he was selling it to the county. Speaking of the appraisal on that thing, anyone in here know what it would cost to replace 275,000 square feet of warehouse space? Anybody want to guess? I'm told between $50 and $75 a square foot. Anybody got a calculator? 200,000 square feet? Yes, sir.
So if we buy that land, y'all gonna use that building, y'all gonna tear them buildings down?
We'll talk about that, okay? I'll get to that in just a minute. That's a good question. As a matter of fact, a lot that's been said about that building that's not even part of the building we're planning to use. But great question. I'll get to it in just a minute. When I talked to the architect who was approved by this court about the usefulness of this building, the older property, 75,000 square feet, which was built since 2013. That's the part of the building that would be used for the jail complex, not the 200,000 square feet behind it. That property or that building would be used later as the county saw fit what to do it. Now, if you have an imagination, you can put in a community center, a convention center, there are all kinds of possibilities to do that building. The structural architect that came in and looked at that building said that the concrete block walls are not support walls. That is supported by steel. Did anybody calculate that number? 2,000 square feet, $50, 200,000. That's $10 million. $10 million. When I talked to the architect last about whether or not to use this property, and this is a decision totally up to this commission. This is not my decision. My purpose is to come up with the best plan that would provide the most for this county for the least amount of dollars. That's my aim, if I have it. So I asked Jim Langford from Spirit, how much money will it save the county if we use this property? And he says the day you sign the sale, you'll save $1 million. You just automatically save $1 million because you have a building that's already there. I said, how much will it save this county to use this building for the jail rather than buying 20 acres out in the county and infrastructure and excavation, all that? He said, several $1 million. So here's what I'm thinking. I may be dreaming. I think that this county could purchase that property, and if you don't want to, it's fine with me. I'm just giving you my best shot, folks. I'm just bringing you the best. And if anyone thinks I haven't talked to mayors and warehouse people with a great deal of experience and placed an evaluation on that building and brought them in other mayors, it's been exhaustive, the effort I've made to make sure I'm not making a mistake for this county. Several $1 million. Mr. Langford tells me with Spirit, or originally he was saying, we can build a jail on this property for between 22 and 25 million. He has changed that figure since he's been in the building and dropped it to 20. So my thinking is, if you were thinking 25 million 2 years ago, which would be 35 million, if we can buy this property and build a $20 million jail and get the whole shooting match for 25 million plus the 12.5 acres. That makes sense to me. And now on the issue of the proximity to the park. The jail would be built on the north side of the newer part of that warehouse. And I am telling you, in today's world, it can be landscaped to where the present jail will be more visible than the new jail. It's just the way it's done. Jails are built not to look like jails or criminal justice. That's the way they build them. As a matter of fact, in a moment, the sheriff has told me in the last meeting, he does not want an exercise pound where there's wire for people to even see. Doesn't even want it. And to think that you're going to be driving in the park and criminals are going to be yelling at you. Not so. The current criminal justice center needs to be remodeled. There is an incredible amount of space inside that 75,000 square feet to build sheriff's offices. The architect just began to work on it. We are getting ready to put $1.2 million or have into Trade Park. And I'm telling you, you have a parking issue if you don't look seriously at the situation. Gentleman in the back, you did come to me about that property. It is 5 acres in a residential area. It's commercial. But it's in a residential area. And I went back to the original guidelines for the jail property, and that would, if someone would complain about the houses beyond the warehouse being too close to the jail, I would say you don't have a Chinaman's chance at that working. That's just me.
I'm not trying to tell you to use that product. I'm just telling you it's fair.
So back to the decision makers. The members of this board are the decision makers. I would like to know what you want us to do next, but it's going to be difficult for a spirit architect to come in here and begin to give you numbers, which they're now saying will be December when they would have a definitive plan for the county to build it on land you don't own. So if the court wants to come to me and say, okay, we want to go back out in the county, we want to look at 20 acres, we want to know exactly what it's going, a perfect world would be go out there and build one in town and say, which one do you like? And then blame the mayor for the extra one. It's not that simple. But that's my thoughts. My heart's in Trousdale County, best interest of this county. I don't think this situation should get personal. Up to you. Got this commission side, yes, sir.
Question. You mentioned multiple times that they know that the architect has said, why has the architect not come before this commission to tell us this information?
Is that what you like?
Yes. Yeah. I said we don't have all the information. We don't know what other sites were looked at.
Then sure. We're done.
I talked to the architect, Jax. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago. I asked him, the architect, to come and meet with him. We sat down and draw. He met with us last week, 10 days ago. We kind of sat down and told him what our needs was. 100 beds to 150. It's $800 a square foot to build a jail. You'll figure that out. It's about 40 square feet per inmate. How much you call per inmate? Figure that out. 105 beds. Clay County just got a bid back for 105 beds, $19.5 million. They said ain't no way in the world they can pay. They don't know what they're going to pay. This is just for a jail. This is not a courtroom or anything else. Just a jail and a sheriff's office. $19.5 million. 105 beds. There's a whole lot more to it than people think.
If somebody out there's got a better plan, I'm open to hear it. Yes, ma'am.
And we're overcrowded now.
We got 44 beds right now.
And we're overcrowded, and that's why the state is saying you must go there.
And we've got money in the upper 40s.
Why are we doing?
I got prisoners in Robinson County. I got prisoners in Wilson County, prisoners in Sumner County. I got 3 at TDOC that killed people here in the prison. They've done their state time. We indicted them, but they indicted them.
They're supposed to be down here in our local jail. But luckily, the state told them.
And Cobb County planned up to the jail to keep our prisoners and
They're-
drive them back and forth.
They're not charging anybody.
So we need to build a jail that is large enough that in the next year, we're not gonna be told by the, state. You know, we need, it needs to be.
Let me say one other thing, that is this, everyone in this room has known that we're looking at all the properties. It's not a secret. I have not hidden this from anybody. This commission approved going ahead with an option to purchase. It's not like I pulled this out of the hat. We've known about this. And there's been no attempt on my part to withhold information from anybody. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was gonna say, now, you have made clear in this, which has known that, you know, we're looking at that property. But the thing I'm saying, we don't know what other side, now, if Dr. Gibson say, we'll look at this side, this is what I think works there. We look at this side, this is why I think that side doesn't work. You know, if you show me the options in that previously the best one, so be it.
Okay, and if
we don't have the information, it's not, what I'm saying.
That's a perfectly legitimate request. But I will tell you that Jim Langford is telling us that he'll have definitive numbers in December. Is that not correct? In December. So you're on a timeline as to whether or not just walk away from this property opportunity, or and this commission will be known for whether or not you made that purchase or you passed it. That's just that's the way that. Yes, sir.
You say that on that. What's going to be the whole building? Where?
The older part of the building will not be used for the jail.
You said eventually we're going to turn into something.
I'm sorry, that is correct.
Now, you said just a minute ago, it's going to be brand new. And stay there or not look like work. How you going to do that without bringing the shit down?
I'm talking about the newer part of the warehouse.
I was going to set up art that looks like the whole damn building.
I'm not talking about the older building with the state of the art.
Yes.
I'm talking about the metal building. We're talking about the newer part where the jail will be attached. Yes, sir.
Okay. That's not going to be set up work, like you saying.
The jail will be, because it's not going to be, the jail will not be. Let's look real nice. That's it. How about this? Let's get an architectural rendering so you can see exactly what the architecture. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. Sorry, gentlemen. We don't want to get into another debate here.
Why not?
I really would have appreciated if you guys would have came up and made a statement at that time.
Do what?
I really would have appreciated if you would have came up and made a statement at that time.
Well, I'm asking the question I need to come up there.
I'm going to let the mayor take this. So.
Everyone in the public's had their opportunity to speak, and the rule is you put your name up here, so I can't recognize you at this point. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion from the commissioners? Yes, sir.
I would just like to ask the sheriff a question. Do you think if we built it there, that the prisoners would be hollering out, or would they have access to send any people at the park, at the track, or any of that, at the Little League fields?
The way new jails are built now, you take Wilson County new addition, they built over there, it's 400 million. It cost them, I think around $45 million to build that addition. And the way jails are built now, the exercise area is built in the jail. They've got a garage door over there that it starts about this roof and lets down and lets light in. And their light is funneled in through piping. They don't have windows in the jail. They got skylights in the ceilings like this. You heard about piping the sunshine in? That's what it does over there. They got skylights that mirrors it, reflects the light into the room. Jails are built a whole lot different now than what they were 50 years ago.
So our jail would be like that. They wouldn't be hollering out or no sitting.
No windows.
Yeah.
You know, if they are, y'all may have seen our windows over here. You can't yell at our windows. They're sealed, wired, and I had to spray some stuff on them. People could be waving out the windows or doing anything like that years ago.
So no rec yards are outside.
Now, we'd be any kind of fence, wherever we build it at, whether it's here or somewhere else, there won't be any fence. You look at Wilson County's jail over there, you don't see any fencing around either. Go to Sumner County jail, there's not any fencing around either. That's the old jail that's got the fencing. Thank you, Sheriff Wilson. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Is there any other discussion from commissioners? If not, let it be understood that if you vote yes on this motion, you're voting to decline it. Everyone understand that? The motion is to deny. So if you vote yes, it is to deny. Roll call, please.
Beverly Atwood,
Before you all proceed, Mr. Hall has given her permission to speak earlier, and she just had one question that you called her.
Legal says that you had an opportunity to sign in.
Suspend the rules, allow her to speak.
Yes, sir, you did say she could speak though, and you not.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I just had a question, and that was, how many square feet does it take to fill 100 beds?
Well, it depends on how large a space you use as far as sheriff's offices and all of that.
Or just on average, if you were to place 100 beds in this room?
There's about 40 square feet per person. So that's 40,000 square feet, 40,000. Yes, ma'am.
4,000.
$800 a square foot.
And the building over there is how many square feet?
The building,
And the building over there.
the part of the building that would be utilized is 70,000 square feet, but you're putting all your sheriff's offices, courtrooms, and support in that building. It would take considerably more than just the jail part.
So 40,000 square feet with prisoners. And the building is how many square feet?
70,000 on the new part,
70,000. But altogether, the whole building over there is how many square feet?
270,000 square feet.
270,000 square.
Correct.
So you're proposing 40,000 for the prisoners and some office space.
Correct.
So 200 and just say 200 square feet, 220 square feet would be extra space.
Correct. That could be utilized.
20,000 square.
That could be utilized depending on what kind of studies you did as far as how to utilize it for the county, benefit of the county.
Okay. So this is what's being proposed with the taxpayers.
This, at this point, yes.
Okay.
You said you had a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, roll call. Yes, sir.
Before, can you explain one more time how this voting goes, the motion to deny?
Okay, the motion to deny means that if you're voting yes, you're voting no. Okay, that we've asked commissioners not to present motions that way because it's confusing. But if you're voting to deny, you need to vote yes and not no. Okay, everyone understand that? An affirmative vote is to deny the motion. Everyone good? Yes, ma'am.
Beverly Atwood,
No.
Tommy Belcher,
No.
Shane Burton,
Yes.
Alan Carmen, Grant Cochran,
Yes.
Brian Crook,
Yes.
Will Dennis,
No.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory,
No.
Landon Gully,
No.
Richard Johnson,
Yes.
Judy Kerr,
No.
David Nollner,
No.
Leslie Overman,
No.
Mark Presley,
Yes.
Amber Russell,
No.
Lonnie Taylor,
No.
David Thomas.
No.
Motion failed.
7 yes, 12 no, 1 absent.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way we can get, I know a timeline deal, a little bit more accurate description of what it's gonna look like, a little more accurate description of what it's gonna cost? Just, I mean, a ballpark, at least a close ballpark.
If that's the will of this commission, the answer is yes, okay? You could postpone it to the next meeting. We're gonna be getting into the second 6 months of this agreement. I don't know how Mr. Holder will come back as far as that's concerned, but if that's a chance this commission wants to take, that's fine with me. Whatever the will of the body is, yes, sir.
Move to postpone until February meeting so we can hear from the architect.
Second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second to postpone to the February meeting until we can hear from the architect. Any discussion?
Please,
I'm sorry,
please,
please discuss.
no, please get him here.
We'll get him here. Yes, sir.
So,
Care.
this body also to save
I know where I'm at.
$15,000 decided to pay up front the air conditioning system over at the courthouse. And that worked out really well for us, hasn't it? So I'm just thinking that maybe we might look at this. This is a piece of the puzzle. This is just the purchase of a property and what that property can benefit the county. So that maybe instead of waiting and taking the chance of Mr. Holder raising the price on us, because I'm sure it'll be more than a $15,000 hit, maybe we consider thinking about this just a little more, and at least looking into buying the property, and then we can decide what we're gonna do with the property after that.
Okay, duly noted. We have a motion on the floor to postpone to the February meeting and a second. Any other discussion? I'm sorry. You want to roll call this one? Yes, sir.
If we do postpone it, it's not for sure that you can get the architect here, can you? For sure, I mean, for sure you can get him here then?
We'll get him here. Roll call.
Can I ask you to amend your motion to put this either the February or a special call meeting in the interim, just for the purposes of being able to make sure that the architect can get here? Would you do that, sir?
Yeah.
Okay.
Special call meeting.
Roll call. Please limit your discussion during roll call.
Beverly Atwood,
No.
Tommy Belcher, Shane Burton,
Yes.
Alan Carmen,
Yes.
Grant Cochran,
Yes.
Brian Crook,
Yes.
Will Dennis,
No.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory,
Yes.
Landon Gully,
No.
Richard Johnson,
Yes.
Judy Kerr. Judy Kerr.
Is this one of those,
No.
No.
Yes.
Yes. David Nollner,
Yes.
Leslie Overman,
Yes.
Mark Presley,
Yes.
Amber Russell,
Yes.
Lonnie Taylor,
Yes.
David Thomas.
No.
16
Okay,
yes.
will be
3 no.
postponed to a special meeting when we get the architect here. Okay, I apologize for everyone that's taking so long. We'll move right along to ordinances. Public hearing and second reading of ordinance 300-2023-37. Rezoning R2 to R3, 5 parcels on Green Top. Anyone here to speak to that? Yes, she is.
So during the discussion, the last person we went through this, we did mention that there could possibly be some type of easement along the back of that property. And we went and found documentation, and there is not an easement that goes down the back of that property. And again, these are the 5 parcels that are going to be combined, rezoned from R2 to R3. What question language?
Sorry.
I said, what question?
Any questions of Ms. Mayhem?
Second.
Motion to approve by Ms.
Public hearing.
It's a
We
public
gotta
hearing.
close public hearing first. Motion to close public hearing.
So moved.
Glenn and Gully, second.
Did you allow
Grant
anyone to
Cochran.
speak?
Hmm?
Did you allow anyone to speak?
Anyone like to speak to this before we close public hearing? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So we've closed public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Atwood, second by Mark Presley. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Motion carried. I'll now open the floor for second reading of ordinance 300-2023-37. Are there any questions on this ordinance from Ms. Mahan?
The first reading.
First reading, I'm sorry. First reading. I'm sorry.
It's not easy. I know.
Yes, sir. Motion by Mr. Nolan, second by David Thomas. All in favor? Aye. No by like sign. Motion carried. Let's stop a minute and see what we're doing, okay? Right now, we're on ordinance 301-2024-01, rezoning of A1, R1, R2 to R1 on West McMurray Boulevard. This is a rezoning request from the Helms family for their property on McMurray Highway 25. Ms. Mahan, would you please address the commission concerning this ordinance?
Certainly. If you look at the map, this is one of the most interesting pieces of property that I've seen because it has not one, not two, not three, but it has 4 different zones on this one parcel of land. It goes from C1 to R2 to R1 to A1. And what they would like to do is combine and have this parcel of land be one zone for future development. Now, in looking at this piece of property, the planning commission has given it a favorable recommendation for rezoning. It has.
Would you please, quiet conversation, please, while she speaks. Go ahead.
It is out of the urban district, so it does not have sewer available. It'll just be limited to septic systems. It does have a 6-inch line for water that goes, and that'll be a very nice piece there. And it has, if you look, there's 2 things of road frontage. Highway 25 is one side of the road frontage, and then going up along Crenshaw, and then back. Sulphur College also goes along the back of that piece of property. So in evaluating the property, GNRC told us that for density, you could have 38 single-family residences on that piece of property, if that's what they wanted to do, or 98 duplexes. But I know they would like to do development, divide it up, and create some parcels of land for development there. They're not going to be that large because they have to have septic fields.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I already had one.
To approve.
Well, let's do what we never mind.
Motion to approve, second from Lonnie Taylor. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carried. Under budget amendments, again, please note that BA 101-09FB and BA 101-14 have been removed from consideration for tonight's meeting. We have added BA 101-15FB. Commissioner Gully, would you please review the budget amendments for the commission?
I certainly can't go over anything anyone wants to go with. First, a couple of these tonight are insurance premiums increase. As Ms. Amy stated earlier in budget finance meeting, we budget in April, May, and June to be ready for a budget to be in place for the July of the year. Open enrollment for insurance is in October. Whoever takes or doesn't take, that kind of makes a difference in how those premiums are going to be. plus the insurance company then sets what our cost is gonna be. So why we're having to look at an update, an increase there is the $588 county portion will be increasing to $618. You're gonna see that on about, I think, four of these motions through here. Those were all favorable motions in budget and finance. They came with a favorable vote. Any questions on the insurance premium? Okay, so moving on, you'll see a grant on here for the senior citizen center there in this case, in the amount of $11,958. Listen, folks, grant is money coming in. They've got some. There was a question. It needs to be answered on what about $8,000 of that was being spent. $3,000, if I remember. We're going into overtime salaries for 2 of the employees there, and the remaining portion was going into purchasing of equipment needed there. Maybe some tables and chairs and some other items I think was in that discussion. The insurance recovery, that's simply what it is. There was a damaged vehicle and a damaged roof during a windstorm down here on the jail. That money is coming in off insurance. It's rolling back in. Both those were favorable motions. Another grant, that was an EMA grant. It's really a transfer of money, if I remember that one correctly. I don't have that exact paper in front of me, but I'm 95% yes, I'm sure that is a transfer of money of an original grant at $5,535. This amount of money came into EMS. EMS is putting this in EMA, moving this to a different line item. So it's grant money that came in. We approved the grant money in the past, put it in the EMS budget. It's now moving into an EMA line item. I hope that was clear. It's $2,000 of grant money that we're moving around to spend. There is no allocated plan for where that's going to be spent. It's just being moved there at this time. 101.13 is overtime adjustments. There are a few of that in the planning commission. The majority of this money is being moved from line items that are in the, I think $500 was coming from the clerk's office. The remaining portion of that $52,782 is coming out of positions that have not been filled within the sheriff's department. The vast majority of this money is covering overtime expenditures in the sheriff's department or jail, all under the umbrella of the sheriff's department. Those are overtime costs. It is a hope this is not all money that has been spent. In other words, this is not just catching this up. This is a hope to fund those overtime costs through the end of the fiscal year, through June 30th. That is covering that one. Any questions on that one? That one had a little bit of question, but it did come with a favorable recommendation. Okay. The next one came to us late last week. The fire department, it was added on. It was not on anything that was sent to you by email the week prior when we got our original packet. It's not in your original packet. The fire department went on a call last Tuesday morning. In coming back from the call, the SBA bottles, I guess for some of them, if you don't realize what an SBA bottle is, the oxygen tank that sits on the back of a firefighter's pack. They have a mask that provides that oxygen. That's the tank that holds that oxygen. The compressor that our fire department has no longer would fill those bottles when they came back with them on Tuesday morning. Something is broken. In looking at it, Chief Beeler has looked and has a individual that's coming in to look at fixing it, hoping it can still be fixed. However, we cannot fill bottles in our county today. We can take them, and he does have the great thing about that department and those departments like that. They will help out one another, neighborly is what we might call that. And he does have a way to fill. However, the piece of equipment is quite old. It was actually installed or built in 1997. I think the original manufacturing date is January 31st, 1997. If you want to look back at this paperwork, I got it somewhere. With that said, he is asking to buy a new compressor. This is an air compressor. I agree. This is not like your air compressor to fill up the tires with. Please understand what we're saying here. This puts oxygen into that bottle for that firefighter to go into an environment that's not favorable with oxygen, to have living, breathing air to that bottom. That equipment, is roughly 31,000 and some change, is the cost right now of that, estimate, to buy a new. Yes, I did say 31,000 and some change for an air compressor to fill those bottles. The amendment is for 35,000. The chief, hopes to be able to fix the other and have it able to fill. He says as its age, it is quite slow in filling to the pressure of 4,500 PSI. Like in your car, if you need the next example of what we're saying, most of your cars run about 50 pounds. So 4,500 is a little bit greater. As we would look at that piece, that was favorable out of ARPA funds. It does say fund balance on the sheet you have running around, but the budget and finance asked to move that to the 127 fund, which has roughly $142,000, best of my memory left, sitting in it. Maybe it's 125. 342 is the other one. Sorry, numbers rolling on my head. 125,000 sitting in that. Coming out of that one to ARPA fund instead of fund balance draw. That was favorable recommendation. It was approximately a month before that could be purchased. I will state this, the county does only have one quote. Chief was only able to get one quote. That falls inside the legalities of this. We ran that by Mr. Beller here, Honorable Beller, and it is cleanly cleared to go in that route. It's actually a accredited state terms failing me there. It's a government entity deal site that's approved through the bill. So it's fine for schools with one quote. Any questions there? Oh, the other one is general purpose schools. I think that's the only other one we haven't covered. And the general purpose schools, if you've been by the high school, you've noticed that there has been a new greenhouse bill. This is moving funds out of a vocational piece to pay for some of the work that's been done there already. If I understood Dr. Satterfield correctly, this work is actually already done. It's just moving it in to pay it. Any questions there? It was favorable from finance committee. We did remove a couple off of here. You'll see if you notice your original budget had a generator, 10114, and a payroll clerk. Those two items will come back on the plate in the February meeting. So that's kind of where we are.
Can I make a motion to combine them all and approve them all at one time?
If we do it by roll call, yes.
I make a motion to combine and approve.
Okay, second by Grant Cawthon. Roll call, Madam Clerk. Any discussion?
Beverly Atwood,
Yes.
Tommy Belcher,
Yes.
Shane Burton,
Yes.
Alan Carmen,
Yeah.
Grant Cochran,
Yes.
Brian Crook, Will Dennis,
Yes.
Jerry Ford,
Yes.
Chris Gregory,
Yes.
Bubba Gregory,
Yes.
Landon Gully,
Yes.
Richard Johnson, Judy Kerr,
Yes.
David Nollner,
Yeah.
Leslie Overman,
Yes.
Mark Presley,
Yeah.
Amber Russell,
Yes.
Lonnie Taylor, David Thomas.
Yeah.
19 yes, 0 no.
Motion carried. Under notaries to be approved, we have 6. Debater Troop with the Mary E. Stewart chapter number 290. Betty Payne with the Mary E. Stewart chapter 290. Nicole Buckmeyer of Core Civic. Betty J. Locke, self-employed. Carl Matthew Carmen of Gene Carmen Real Estate. And Tammy Denny McDonald of Wonder Porcelain. I have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve all of them.
From Mr. Gully, second from Amber Russell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Are there any commissioners with any other business tonight? Yes, sir.
Just want to mention, about a year ago, this commission approved the grant application for the Hartsville Backpack Program to greenhouse out at the firstborn. We were notified late November, that we are going to get that grant for the full amount, which was a little less than $500,000. So just want to thank on behalf of the backpack program, just want to thank the commission for supporting that.
Great. Yes, sir.
Just wanted to ask about an update on the courthouse. Was the final inspection approved?
Final inspection was approved. We should be in hopefully next month. Am I correct on that?
Maybe.
Everyone? Maybe, but yeah, close. We did pass. Any public comment at this point? Anyone? Public comment? Motion to adjourn. Second, all in favor say aye.